Hello and welcome to Happy Autism Podcast. I'm your host Mishka Sibert, a certified life coach and the founder of Happy Autism. The purpose of this podcast is to shine light on the topics that are staying in the shadows and in darkness in order to heal collectively as people that are together on this journey, whether you're a sibling, a mother, a parent, a caregiver, or autistic yourself. We are all welcome in this safe space where you can collectively talk about things safely and openly and heal together. Because this journey can be challenging, but we want to create a brighter and happier future together. So let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about boundaries, people pleasing. And if you struggle with people pleasing and boundaries, we're gonna talk about this, okay? This is a talk. We're gonna have a talk. You and me, we're gonna have a talk, okay? Because this is very important, and many special needs siblings struggle with this. I just realized this is not just a statement, just saying it, just like, yeah, I just read it somewhere. I spoke to special needs siblings, and we are people pleasers, many of us, right? And they have this character of a helper, which I spoke about in the second episode of the highs and lows of being a special needs sibling, and the caregiver, and how there is a character of earning love through being helpful and helping others. But today we're going to talk about the boundaries, how to have them, why they're important to have them, and why we self-abandon in a relationship with ourselves and others. And why we become people pleasers and how to stop being people pleaser. Not in a way, it's like I love pleasing people. I love giving love, affection, and just taking care of people, of course. I love that. And it brings me a lot of joy. But there is this danger of doing it in a way where it's harmful for you and it's not healthy. And then you lose yourself in that connection and you abandon yourself. So let's go straight to the point, straight to the beginning. But before we dive deep, I'm like, I need to give a shout out, of course, to Patreon. Our Patreon page. I'm so excited about this. Woo! I'm so excited about this. Before we dive deep, I definitely want to give a shout out to patreon.com/happyautism, our beautiful community, where I'm so excited with my brother and I are bringing a lot of healing resources, a lot of healing magic, and just a lot of healing and fun and joy and just beauty and just so much greatness and just magic. I said magic so many times because it's literally what it is. You're meant to have a magical life. That's a t-shirt I'm wearing, and it's literally what I want you to have. We enjoy creating and bringing this healing and presence through our existence and being. And we love doing it together. We love doing this together so much. So you will see a lot of beautiful content. So come to patreon.com/happyautism. Whichever tier you select will be a magical experience for you, and you will feel so supported, like a beautiful global family that we have. But also where you're seen and heard, and where you feel like you belong, and there's a safe space for you to shine bright and just get really good resources. And if you don't want to show up in our group coaching calls, you don't have to. But you will have a chance to get that healing and get more resources and tools. And also beautiful gifts from Samko and myself. Yay! Now let's dive into today's topic. So, do you struggle with being a people pleaser? If no, then that's great. If yes, then let's dive deep. So, I struggled with people pleasing, and I discovered that when I'm trying to get some need met that I didn't have as a child, I actually used to attract people that could not give me that need, like being emotionally unavailable people. Because as I spoke in this types of moms episode pattern, that in our family I could see the generational pattern of not being emotionally available in our as mothers. So my great-grandma wasn't emotionally available to my grandma wasn't to my mom wasn't to me, and then I was like, oh my god, hello, and then I was like, Mom, be emotionally available, and we did inner child healing together, and I did inner child healing work with her, and she could start being emotionally available to herself, to her inner child, and to us. It's magical circle, but also Samko unlocked a lot of healing within us, and a lot of love and a lot of beautiful energy. But there is another issue as well. I would say issue, right? Because as a special needs sibling, I was neglected many times, which my parents, I'm not saying that it's their fault, I'm not blaming anyone, and I told my mom I'm not blaming her. But I have in the past. But after bringing and healing into my inner child, I stopped blaming anyone for that and started taking accountability and accountable action towards providing myself, my inner child, what I needed. So if it was presence, I gave my inner child presence. If it was affection, I gave myself affection. If it was to be seen and heard, I started listening and paying attention to what my inner child needs. And asking questions, how can I support you, and journaling about this. And, I realized one thing, that I was trying to, let's say in relationships, I would just lose myself. And it's not just in romantic relationships, but also in work relationships. Okay, work. And saying yes to everything. I was like, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. I can do everything. I don't need to take care of my mental health. Forget about this. I am gonna be a yes man like Jim Carrey. Have you seen this movie? That's it. So I started being yes man. And the thing is that I also listened to Ed Sheeran's story in the interview when he was saying, I started saying yes to everything, and the opportunities started coming to life. I started saying yes to everything, to all the opportunities, and that led to my successful life. And that was maybe in 2013 when I was listening to BBC Radio 1 interview with him, and I was a huge fan of Ed Sheeran at the time, and everything that was British. Because I moved into London, and it was I fell in love with everything that was English or British. Simply said, right? So, yes. And that's the point. I started saying yes to everything. And it was very hard for me to say no. Very, very hard. I felt like, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad saying no. Yeah, it's just kind of feeling you have within you. You're like, oh God, I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want to disappoint these people. I don't want to hurt them. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, saying no, that's crazy. And if you're watching this episode on YouTube, you'll probably laugh because I'm doing crazy faces here. So yeah, my mom used to be an actress. You can tell, right? My granddad was a TV director, so I was in TV since I was a baby. Since 94. A media child, really. Creative. Expressive. So, yes, and I was seen and heard, and then my brother came, and I was not seen and heard. Right, so it was like splash in my face. And it's funny because when my parents told me that, Mishka, you will have a sibling, my first thought was, Mom, I'm really scared that I will be jealous. What a beautiful self-aware 9-year-old, right? It's like, wow. Or 8 or 9, whatever. Well, he was born when I was 9. So probably I was 8 when he told me. And I was like scared to be jealous of my brother. And then The thing what happened is that he was born kind of like my mom and I. We always say that we kind of fell in love because his pure, beautiful, angelic aura, whatever it is, just light and just precious beingness was just so beautiful that we really connected to him in a very special way. And I just always wanted to protect him and babysit him and just like hold his little tiny hand, and just be like, oh, I'm there next to you, it's so cute, you're my whole world. So much love. But also, I just saw that I was very praised and I got attention, which I didn't get much then. I was like, I used to get attention when I was a child. I was on TV when I was 10 months old. I used to sing on a tram and on a bus and everywhere. I used to sing in front of everyone. I was just seen and heard and expressed. A beautiful performer, a little angel, shining bright light. And then my brother came and I was in the shadows because he was the number one in our lives. And in my life, suddenly I got the identity of being a special needs sibling, and that means that it's hard to shake this off, to be honest, because you're like forever special needs sibling, and you are not a priority. Yeah, well, that sucks. So I realized, okay, wait, very smart way to get the attention is to please people, because I love helping people. But what if I just lose myself completely in this, and my whole self, in this identity of being a caretaker, a caregiver, a helper, and just bringing joy to everyone's people's lives. People love that, eh? Don't you? Don't they just love when they're being helped and I bring them smiles and joy? Yeah, which is great, of course. But the problem is that I would do that even if that meant that it's not good for me. So I would not voice my opinion. I would be quiet. I would be silenced. And I would say yes to things that were not serving me or were not for my highest good, which can lead to those abusive relationships that I spoke about in other episodes. But also, this is a problem with people pleasing, because your boundaries are non-existent. You're like, yeah, of course, like I can totally do that. Yes, of course I can totally do that. I can do everything. Sure, you can rely on me. So I always been the most reliable person everywhere. Work, relationships, friendships. Everyone come to me and they're like, yeah, Mishka, could you give me advice? Yeah, Mishka, could you do this? Yeah, Mishka, could you do that? And I'm like, yes, of course I can do everything. Yes, I can be for everyone there. I can be there for everyone. When I need help, there are not many people there. Because people are so used to me being there for them. And it's also because I showed them an example that I'm not there for myself. So why would they be there for myself? You're showing them an example. You're showing people how you deserve to be treated. You're showing people how you deserve to be treated through how you treat yourself. Let's not forget about my sticker on my laptop. Self-love is my superpower. It's your birthright to give this healing and love to yourself. First, to fill your own cup so you can then give to people. And you hear this phrase a lot, but you're like, well, how am I supposed to do that as a people person? Like, if I already struggle with this, well, discover your needs. Now we're getting to the point. Discover your freaking needs and provide them for yourself. Establish boundaries based on what do you need in order to have that cup full. If you need space, say so. If you need presence, say so. If you need someone to hear you out, say so. Ask for it without feeling guilty. Well, how do I feel not guilty? Like, how I'm supposed to do this, Mishka, right? Because, like, I feel guilty. I was not shown as a child that my needs are important, but that my special needs sibling, like, I'm not special. Even though I have, like, this name, special needs sibling, my needs are not special. That just means that I'm a sibling to someone whose needs are special. No, you're a special needs sibling. Your needs are special. That's what it means, to be honest. That this is exactly what it means. That your needs are special. And your siblings' needs are special too. Each one of us needs are important and special. Okay? Just let it sink in. So, it's a practice. It takes time. Oh God. But let me tell you something. When you step in your power, oh my God, and you start saying no, even though that will trigger the hell out of people will be like, oh my God, you didn't meet my need? Excuse me? They will react. They might overreact. They might get triggered. They will get triggered. But that is not your problem because their trigger is their trigger. It's their freaking responsibility for their own emotional hell that's happening within them. It's not your responsibility. Every single person is responsible for their own shit. Okay? And I'm tagging explicit in this episode because, yes, I'm gonna use this word. Every single person is responsible for their own shit. It's not your responsibility to take care of people's shit and of their mental health. Just because you grew up with your special needs sibling doesn't mean that it's your responsibility for their craziness that's happening. You can hold space for them, you can show up with your beautiful light, and you can be like this healing presence is there, but it's their responsibility to do the work and show up. In that way, you're giving them power back. And you're taking your power back. Because if you're like people-pleasing people, and if you're taking responsibility for everyone else, even your sibling, and you're like trying to be this overprotective sibling or whatever, which I struggled with as well in the past, that way you're actually taking away power of your own sibling and of other people. Because like, oh, I'm so sorry, like you struggle with this, and I don't want to struggle. I don't want you to struggle. So I'm just gonna basically take all your burden on me. No, you cannot do that. You cannot be savior for others. You cannot be healer for others. You can be healing presence, but you cannot heal their own shit. You cannot save them from their own shit. You literally cannot take the burden on yourself. Because if you do, and if you try to do that, you take the energy, and what happens, you crush your soul, and you take their power away because you put them in a victim mode, and you treat them like a victim. Oh, you're such a victim. You cannot handle your shit on your own. So I'm gonna just like try to save you, and I'm gonna be, like this stick that you hold on to for the rest of your life. No. The most empowering thing is to say, you're so strong, I see your strength. See them as a strong person. Because you have two versions you can choose. You can either see them as a victim, or you can see them as a hero and be like, I see you as this powerful, you're so strong. I sympathize with you, I empathize with you, I see you, I hear you. But you can do this. Like, I'm here to cheer you on. I'm here to support you. I'm here to hold space for you if you need so. But you can do it. Isn't that the most powerful thing ever? It is. But the trick is that if you're a people pleaser and you have this character helper, that when you're trying to earn love for helping people, you actually don't want to give them power back. Because you're like, yeah, but how I like being needed, like I like being needed. So what now? What now? How do I get love? You give it to yourself, honey. You give it to yourself. And you're like, oh my God, but if they won't need me, does it mean that they won't choose me? Does it mean they won't give me love? No, it does. They will give you healthy love, not toxic, codependent love. They'll love you no matter what, because it's unconditional. Unconditional love means I love you, but I have my own boundaries, right? It doesn't mean that I accept everything they're doing and accept you for who you are, but I don't accept all the behavior towards me because I have boundaries and I deserve to be treated like a freaking queen, empress. Hello? Bye. So you either show up in these ways by having my boundaries there in a place. Not like two boundaries, because boundaries are flexible with terms what people you're dealing with. So if someone is a-hole, you actually need to have higher boundaries. But if someone is actually coming through approach that is accountable, you're like, I see that you're struggling. I see that there is a pain and wound, and I don't appreciate this behavior. And that person can apologize and be like, oh, sorry, thank you. Yeah, I didn't mean this way. Maybe clear that intention. Or just like say that being accountable. And this way you're keeping the people accountable in your life. And that way they actually grow and show up in their fullest, most embodied, most empowering, powerful presence that they are. You bring the best out of them, and you bring the best version out of them through bringing the best version of you in this connection. It's super duper awesome cool. And it works whether you have autistic sibling or not. Like, this is what I do with my brother. Like, if I didn't appreciate some kind of behavior that he was doing, like, let's say that he didn't know how to be gentle, right? And he would like push me harder because he wasn't aware. He was, learned from the childhood that sometimes like he's trying to have connection through physical touch, and he could like do things like push me or spit on me or whatever and beat me, and I would beat him back. We had this, I spoke about this, but yeah. And there was a lot of guilt and resentment, and I had to heal all those wounds and heal our relationship, because people think that like, oh my god, you guys, that's such sibling goals. It's like, yeah, but I did a lot of work on our relationship, and I did work through healing my own inner child, through showing up differently, and through asking him and communicating him how I want him to show up, and by setting boundaries and examples and speaking up. And you're like, yeah, but wait, your brother, he's nonverbal, so what the hell you're doing? Like, how you're actually speaking up? Like, how are you speaking up if your brother is nonverbal? What are you saying, Mishka? Like, I don't get it. Let me explain. Very simple. I just say, Samko. And he pays attention. He's very, very good at understanding, and he hears the emotion and energy behind the words. So he's very good at nonverbal communication. So I learned how to communicate nonverbally. And we both learned how to communicate nonverbally, okay? So there is this energy that I'm bringing, and it's really like embodiment. Long night. Embodiment. Being in my body. And embodying the energy of those words. Embodying the energy of those words and emotion, okay? So I'm coming under the full presence in my body and a firm energy saying, Samko, but loving, compassion, obviously. Samko, I don't appreciate when you push me so hard. I'm a sensitive being. I'm a sister, and I'm a woman. I need gentle touch, okay? So you need to touch me like this, or like this. Okay, this, and I show him on my body, like this is touch my arm like this, okay? And it's like, oh, this is okay, Mishka, I love you. This is literally how I talk to him, and I show him, and he's like, oh, okay, I love you, Mishka. And he changed his whole behavior, and he's like paying attention to this. He changed because I showed him and I communicated that by being firm but compassionate and loving towards myself and him. So if you're asking me, like, how did I communicate? Well, this, I showed him. So it is important. Because having those boundaries, as a mother, as a sibling, even as autistic, it's so important in your life. Because that shows people that you respect yourself, and they mirror that back, this beautiful reflection of you and your own worth and self-worth. And they respect you the way you respect yourself. They'll love you the way you love yourself. And there's one person that told me, it was actually my first boyfriend, very wise young man, I must say, because I always say this and I cannot really, like, it just takes me back to that moment, and it was such wise word. And he said, Mishka, I can only love you as much as you love yourself. Clapping. This is just this wonderful, wonderful sentence, because it's so true. And at the time I was like, what? And now I'm like, I get it. Yeah, true. Yeah. You can be only loved by people the way you love yourself. Because you show them how. You show them an example. So it's all that inner work and inner healing and reparenting your inner child and loving yourself, accepting yourself for who you are. And giving yourself this unconditional love. Not loving, unconditional love means that you don't love because or only when. It's you just love without any conditions. But you also love to receive what you deserve. Truly, your highest good. So go ask and get and receive and give this beautiful unconditional love to yourself and others. Sending you hugs and love as always. And if you want help with the inner child healing, hit me up, send me a message. But definitely download the communication guide about your needs, so you know how to communicate them and set the boundaries based on your needs and your values. Get it by clicking the link in the description, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Thank you very much for listening to Happy Autism Podcast. We really do appreciate your support, and what would even help us more spread the message, and in exchange for wonderful bonuses from Samko and myself, go to patreon.com/happyautism and check what we've got to offer and how we actually can support this cause, awareness, and empowerment. Thank you for being with us on this journey. See you next time.